that we've been promising you all week, and we decided to do something like this on COVID. That's right, COVID is what we're going to be talking about. Unless you or someone you know has been infected with the coronavirus, it may be hard to imagine what it's like to have COVID-19 and recover from it. And with me today I have, of course, Rocio Perez, and she's going to talk a little bit about what she experienced. And we're going to talk about all the issues, the depressions, family, everything that's associated with it, as well as some of the frontline workers and everybody else and what they experience. And so, Rocio, I'm going to kind of patch into you. I'm going to zoom in on you, and I'll let you take it from there. I'll be right back, okay?
Thank you so much, Henry. It's always an honor and a privilege to be here with you, sharing insights and information with people. And I was recently diagnosed with COVID, and my life completely changed overnight from being a super active individual in my community and in the work that I'm doing, both in person and online, to completely being in bed for many days. And that's been a journey, it's been an experience. I would say it's a very difficult psychological experience as well, given that it's lonely. It's lonely. People don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know anything, and none of us do. And knowing one of the greatest things that I've learned throughout this journey, it doesn't matter what we do. It's remembering about our humanity, remembering to connect with individuals. Yes, we're sick, and yes, things are happening. I would say that I'm one of the lucky ones who is getting through this fairly well. I suffered some major fevers and chills, and I couldn't stay warm and up to keep me comfortable. And it was just something that was very simple, Henry. It started off with just a sinus thing. I thought it was allergies, and I said, okay, maybe it's just my sinuses, it's allergies at that time of year. And no, it wasn't. It really ended up taking something out of me energetically. There was quite a bit going on. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that are suffering from COVID. I just heard a friend on LinkedIn. It's so sad. He's in the ICU. How many people are out there that need the help, that need the support, that other people can't even get in touch with them, or even those poor souls, individuals that are home? What can you do to make them comfortable? One of the things that has helped me get through this is that friends are quite generous. Today I had a friend who brought me lunch. Something as simple as that, to come on and just come over, drop off lunch at the door, other friends dropping off groceries and anything to help make sure that I'm comfortable. And that's helped tremendously going through COVID. The journey's been quite interesting because in the past I bounced back and I'm so excited to keep moving forward and do things, and now it's like, wow, I get to go take a nap in the middle of the day, or even stretching, doing things that can make me stay comfortable. Today was literally the first day in a week that I've had the opportunity to get back to work, and that's been quite interesting, working for a couple of hours throughout the day. It's like, wow, that's progress. So Henry, I'm sure that you're hearing a lot of people that are doing the same thing, right?
And that's true. You know, Steve Stalsey, he let me know that this thing is real, and he said his niece, her hubby, and that would be the great. Let's see, if it would be the niece and the nephew, it'd be the great nephew. So it's the niece, the hubby, and the great nephew all have COVID, and he let me know about it too. And so he says it's real. Now, 80% of people who get it, they all have variables. It could be extreme. It could be somewhat okay, where they can get right through it and they can confine at home. And they can do all these different things. But we're going to touch on what people do. I mean, your own family, they think, oh, you got cooties, or you stay away, like if you can get it over the phone or something. So there's all these variables that go along with it.
You can't get it on Zoom, okay? And I say I'm not contagious to you at all.
We talked about that too. I'm not going to
get the cooties over the internet and on the phone, and I think that's That's such a misconception. People don't know how to react. They're like, wow, that person's got the cooties, and what do I do? And let me just share with you, something that's really, really helpful was those individuals who reached out, individuals that were chatting with me. I had friends that I didn't even know what to do. I was just feeling so sick, calling them at 2 a.m. Of course, it's 4 a.m. their time zone. But calling them to just listen to them, to them talk while I'm concentrating on making sure that I maintain my breathing. And it's sad and it's lonely. So you can't catch it online. You can't catch it on the phone. Our humanity is really what's missing out of this experience.
And what we're going to do, you want to do this, I'm going to, we'll make sure and say this. If you want to make comments on our Facebook Live feed, you're welcome to, and I'll pick up 1, 2, or 3, and then we'll go over them too. So go ahead and continue on, Rosario. I just wanted to make sure I had that out there for everybody to hear.
Of course, please, thank you. And this is the conversation, right? This is about our humanity, where I've had friends who have been quite generous, like I said, driving over an hour to make sure that I had food or make sure that I had anything that made me feel comfortable throughout this time, and having opportunity to even call friends like my friend Hector in the middle of the night, just talk with me. That's all. I just want you to sit there and pray with me, and just that level of generosity where people, friends can connect, people who have been through that really get it, that they know what it's like to need things, or even comfort, words of reinforcement, words of comfort, words of like, I am here for you and you're going to get through this, is very helpful. I think that we don't get that enough, especially right now. I remember at the beginning of COVID how many doctors in Italy were crying because patients would die by themselves. Not that we need to have a two-way conversation, just to know that somebody's voice is out there, somebody's connecting, somebody's caring, somebody's having a conversation, and that's it.
And you know, Rosario, just the frontline workers, imagine the trauma, the sadness that overcomes them just having to put their family on FaceTime to take it up there and watch them die on a phone or on social, any kind of, not social media, it'd be FaceTime, but doing it that way would be traumatizing to a lot of the frontline workers. And I know a lot of them need help thereafter, because they do so many, that they're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are passing away. Some don't pass away, some make it through and they get out, but they still have to confine to the home, which, like you said, sometimes people won't even come to help you, bring you food or talk to you or do things like that.
And I think it's so sad right there, Henry, because one of the saddest things that could ever happen to any individual is to die alone, really, to suffer alone and to die alone. And I know that there's a lot of individuals that have, right, because we're so afraid of even connecting with them to make a phone call. I thought that the people the closest to me were going to be, hey, what do you need? Let's have a conversation. Is everything okay? And really, it was my friends who were connecting, who were saying, hey, is everything okay? What can I do to make you feel more comfortable? Even if we can Uber food anywhere around the world, that they hop in their car and drive for 35 minutes to bring me a torta, because that's what I want. Right?
That sounds good.
Right, and it was really good. And to know that it's anyone from walks of life. I just had my friend Don, who's an MD, who drove a torta to me. And that's humbling. And that's also such an amazing act of kindness and love and compassion and empathy to say, hey, you know what, just keep smiling, girl, keep smiling. We need you here, and we need you to get healthy, and everything's going to be okay. Just simple words of encouragement.
And then back in the old days, the dark ages, they had the Black Plague. There was no frontline workers. There were just the people who would go bury everybody and throw them in mass graves and stuff like that. It's kind of the same thing in a different format, though, putting all these dead bodies in these refrigerated trucks. The people who are having to do all this stuff, I know it's taken its toll. And then the people who, they're in the hospital, they get out, but then they still have to go quarantine and try to get well. Now, there's all these other setbacks that go with trying to get well. I've been hearing a lot about some people have all these odd kind of afflictions after. And sometimes you're not even supposed to go around people thereafter because you could be hanging on to that COVID for, days on end. Is that true?
Yes, that's so true. And I think one of the greatest things for me has been to have some type of a routine, some type of a focus. I've spent so much time in bed that it's crazy. And walking up and down the stairs, yeah, difficulty breathing. I was speaking with a girlfriend who panicked yesterday. She's like, what do you do? What's happening over there? And I'm like, just let me be. I'm walking up the stairs. I'm gonna go lay down. It's okay. I think that we also fear, because those individuals who've had COVID, that we also fear ourselves how to get well. We don't do anything, and I'm not going to leave anything to chance. I'm unstoppable, Henry. Come on, I had COVID and I didn't even know it last week, and in the midst of not feeling well, being on our last interview. But to also, what can I do myself to keep myself healthy?
And here's the thing, a lot of people don't know the backside of a lot of people, what they're going through. They just see us up front, they'll see you on social media, they'll see you out and about or whatever, and they don't know what's on the backside or what you're actually experiencing. And some people will give you a helping hand, some people will just turn their face and just forget about you, like, oh, no, I don't want to help this individual. And it could even be family. Sometimes family says, oh no, we can't go around you because you've got, like I say, from back in the dark ages, the Black Plague. It's like you're but it ain't actually so bad. I mean, you can still talk via Zoom. Thank God for Zoom. They're making millions now, billions at this point. But now during the holidays, which is Thanksgiving, they're asking everybody to not get together because it's real. I mean, it could afflict somebody that way. Mm-hmm.
And we think, Henry, that it's somebody who's walking around with a known fever, that they're sweating, that they're coughing, that all these things are happening, and that's not true. That definitely was not the case for me. And I don't remember being around anyone prior to this that had any symptom that was visible to me, and much less me. I felt like I had a little bit of allergies. I've lived most of my life with allergies. I thought it was a sinus issue. And it wasn't, right? Even people that look healthy, we think we start blaming people. It's like, oh, maybe you were around people that were sick. You don't know. I mean, you and I looked perfectly fine before I got this. I looked perfectly fine. I was walking around, things were great, hanging out, living my life to the best of my ability during these times. And then here we go from one moment to another saying, there's something off.
And you can feel it. Your body talks to you right away.
Well, body talks, and trust me, when my body talks, I listen. I became a very, very good listener over the years. When my body says, I need something, and the chills were probably the worst right there, Henry. I couldn't keep myself warm enough. I had 3 blankets on. I had thermal underwear on, everything that I could possibly have. I even had gloves on, and that couldn't even keep me warm enough. The chills that I was experiencing during those times was quite difficult, and thinking, the only thing that I can think was, I just want to feel well, and that's it. And I had my moments, I had my hour here, half an hour there, that I was feeling well, and in those times I was reaching out and connecting with friends, and the rest of the time I'm like, I'm in bed, and nothing matters. Nothing matters other than feeling well in that moment.
And that feels, you think to yourself, I'm in bed, like you said, and sometimes you feel all alone. Because COVID, people can't come around you unless they're, frontline workers, but they're going to be all decked out in all their facial stuff, their clothing, the gloves, everything, and still they can't really touch you the way a human likes to be touched. Like, oh, you'll be all right. You can't touch you or nothing. You just have to lay there. Wow, what is this shit? And it's it's afflicting a lot of people out there who, their family, their friends, their brothers, others, lovers, mothers, sons, everybody's getting it.
Right.
And now
it's future teacher, everyone.
Yes, and even in some of the grocery stores, Kroger is really putting a clamp down on some of the people how many can go into the grocery store, because some people go in there without masks, and I think somebody's got to tell them, no, you can't get in here without a mask. And they're just, it comes from our leadership also, that they weren't wearing masks, and they think, oh, I can do this too. Then I seen in South Dakota, we're cowboys, we don't have to wear masks, and now they're just afflicted with tons of the COVID. And now they're going to have to spend time alone during the holidays. And how do you overcome? Sometimes it'll be heavy, sometimes you'll die from it, other times it'll be in between. And with you, it didn't get you to where it took you out. You had to be hospitalized and do all that kind of crazy stuff, and put stuff down your throat and try to keep you alive, which, thank God, you blew me away when you said I was tested positive for COVID. I was like, oh my God. It like stunned me. It's like, it's like friends and some of my neighbors and people I know are being afflicted with it, just like I told you about Steve Stalzy's family, so I'm hearing about it. It's coming around, but of course I try to stay completely away from everything, and but that's part of it, so tell us more of in your recovery. I'm sure you talk to healthcare professionals to find out what it is that you can do, and of course they just say you stay home, try to get over it.
Because stay home, be in quarantine, try to do well. I definitely have always lived a very healthy lifestyle, and I push myself, Henry. I push myself to make sure that I'm healthy. I push myself even doing exercises to help me breathe better. And I know that today, now the phlegm is gone, and I can't hear it anymore as I was hearing it in the past, that I can open my mouth in silence and I could hear it, and I'm like, wow, that was a moment, very scary moment, but to know that there's routines, there's things that we can do. I know for me, what I was doing is drinking a lot of lemon, and I had my routine of things that I was doing, and even laying upside down on my yoga ball to make sure that my lungs expand and they open. And even though at the very top of a yawn, my chest hurt.
Wow.
Like it hurt. And that was painful. So many things that we can do: have compassion, connect with people, really think about, it's not that, when we think about it, it's like, well, I'm only going to be hanging out with my family. Well, guess what? You could be carrying it just like I was and didn't even know about it, right? It's not worth it. It's
going to affect the whole family, and one may get it worse than you got it,
yes,
and it could affect them so bad they pass away. And it's on you. You got to live with it all your life. That, hey, I infected my own family. They passed away from my ignorance of not knowing that I had it, and going there. And a lot of families don't want to give up their holiday, their Thanksgiving and stuff. And the entire government, all the mayors and governors and everybody trying to curb it and trying to say don't get together. And some people say, hell with that, I'm going to do it anyway. But this is what we could be up against, like you say. You could be a carrier of it and not know it, and infect your family.
And we're so spoiled, Henry. We're so spoiled, and we're like, no, like you said, I want to have my holiday. I want to have my cake and eat it too. But this is not the time to eat cake. Okay, this is not the time to go out and hang out and think that everything's okay, because it's not. It's not. We're in such a moment. They said this is probably going to be one of the worst holidays ever, considering how many people are going to die after this because we're getting together. I've advised friends who were flying into town, don't come here. Don't come here. It's not worth it. Just hang out, go do your own thing at home. And I've advised friends here, don't go. If you're going to do anything, just drop the food off at the door. You don't even need to open the door.
And just call it a day.
Drop off. You're going to be fine. Missing one holiday isn't that big of a deal.
Over dying over it.
Yeah, over dying. Like missing one holiday over dying is not that big of a deal.
And then go ahead.
Okay, and then also too to have compassion, because individuals may have gotten infected. They don't even know how. Maybe they were running an errand for their mom at the store, and all of a sudden they end up getting infected. Let's stop playing the blame game and start being human, right? Let's connect to our humanity and say, what can we do? Now, there is this problem. We've got it. We understand that people can die from it. What can we do? Be those solution-oriented individuals versus the ones that are bringing more issues to it.
And it's a thing where when you start getting over it, and I really believe these frontline workers, when they create this vaccine, they're going to start vaccinating the frontline workers. A lot of the elderly, they're going to go and start using the vaccine on the elderly and those who need it the most. I'm a little concerned though about the vaccinating so many people so quickly, because I feel like some people are going to be after that the vaccination quickly, and they can't get it, and they're going to start like, oh man, I want it now, and some people are saying, I'm not getting vaccinated, and still carry it. So we're going to see kind of a whole change of the paradigm as we get this vaccine out, because there's 3 of them now, is what I hear.
Yes, we are, and I think as you said, the frontline workers, and heard that so much throughout the last several months, is the impact of those individuals, right? The psychological impact. We're looking at vaccines, we're looking at how do we stay healthy and keep people healthy, and getting together again at this point in time is not a very smart move for me to say, hey, what, even if COVID wasn't the thing right now, I would not want to get together with family and friends to expose everyone, knowing that we're much more careless, we're much more free-spirited during the holidays, and we would do things normally that we wouldn't even think about, especially when there's a lot of fun things and alcohol and life involved that we don't really think about it. How many times do we see people like hugging and like kissing everyone, and you're like,
And that's the thing, the Latinos, like everybody, the Italians, everybody likes to hug and kiss at some of these events, and so it's like you could be walking in there and you're a carrier, you don't really have it, but you're a carrier, and you could expose your entire family to this. And 2 or 3 weeks later, 1 or 2 can die from your exposure to it. Mm-hmm. So you have to be so careful. So anytime you want to chime in, you can put comments down on our live feed and ask us questions or talk about what you're experiencing in your, I would say your experiences with COVID-19, and if you have it in the family, extended family, friends, brothers, sisters, anybody that you would know, we're welcome to air it out for you if you want us to. So put it in comments if you want to say something, and we'll make sure and give you a shout out.
One of the things that's also important, Henry, is being responsible. They used to talk about going out on a date, and the worst thing that can happen is somebody calls you and says, your date is pregnant. Yet today it's like, you could potentially die, and not even touch a person.
That's so funny.
In their environment, right? So sometimes we'll dread those phone calls, and be responsible immediately when you do find out. I did have to make a number of phone calls immediately to make sure that the people that I had come in contact with were aware, because the last thing that I want is for that to be on my conscience that, hey, maybe I was too sick, or hey, make a list, have somebody make those phone calls for you, to do whatever it takes to be responsible.
I have a joke that I want to put in. I can't help myself. You talk about going out on a date. Well, I went and got tested for COVID, right? And it came back, but I tested negative. But they said you've tested positive for a lot of other things. I go, what's that? STD, cooties, and Zackley's. Yeah, and they said I had the Zackley's. I go, the Zackley's? What are the Zackley's? Your butt smells exactly like your breath. So I have to say, those are some of the jokes I say out there about the COVID and stuff like that. So everybody says, come on, Henry, be serious one time in your life. I can't. I had to say it. But it kind of goes hand in hand with what you were talking about right now. How you go out on a date and you come back and say, hey, so it's funny that you didn't even you got near him, you may have kissed him, but hey, now you have COVID. It's like COVID.
Yeah, and maybe you didn't even kiss them.
Yeah, you got
just
near them. You breathed on them.
You didn't even touch them. You were just sharing one thing, which is what unites us here as human beings, is we all share one breath, because the breath that you take, the oxygen that you take in, Henry, doesn't end where mine starts and nobody else's, right? We share one common thing in this world too. one of them it being oxygen and the other one being water. We're all sharing, except the water gets sanitized and the oxygen doesn't quite get there.
That's right.
As fast.
Now, do you think with this, the onset of the vaccines, do you think they're going to be able to get it out in time, at least by February, March, everybody's going to be vaccinated? Do you think this is going to happen?
I think it's virtually impossible to have everyone vaccinated.
This is what I was thinking, and how are they going to, because half the people I said, you're not going to vaccinate me, I already know the government. You know, you're going to grow an extra ear, or your nose is going to fall off or something.
But you end up looking like Pinocchio.
I'm like that all the time. Whoop.
Yeah.
So.
You know, this is not about one person, okay? And I think that's one of the most important things. We all share one thing, and that's life together as human beings. And when we can take a look at our neighbor, our mother, our father, our preacher, our teacher, whoever, and to know that we share humanity, and to know that my actions, because our actions they impact you, Henry. My actions impact you. And let's just really get to the nitty-gritty of it. We think that, it's just me, it's my actions, and it only impacts me. No, it impacts everyone, right? Our actions, our decisions to go out and do something, our decisions not to go out and do something, our decisions to stay or to act or to stay away or whatever, it all impacts everyone. Everything has an impact, positive or negative.
Positive, I would think. I've got a message from Paul Lane. He states he thinks it's going to take 10 to 14 months, in his opinion, to get everybody vaccinated. I'm thinking half of them, or even maybe a third, are going to deny the vaccination altogether, because there's been this toward our government, this shunning of the government because of what we've gone through in this past election. So I'm wondering, because they don't trust our government and they're on this hurry and get this vaccine out, and I've heard a lot of people say this to me, I'm not getting vaccinated, so it's like, you're going to see a lot of that.
We will, and I'm right there with Paul Lane, that it's going to take some time to make sure that everyone gets vaccinated. And our kiddos, oh my, poor little kiddos who love to go out and play and have difficult times. And yeah, some kids are not going to get vaccinated, some adults won't get vaccinated. It will take some time to give everybody the vaccination and to really understand that, what do we get out of this? What are we doing? What world do we want to create from this point moving forward? That we can't think in isolation anymore. The moment of thinking that it's just me, it no longer works. But let's go ahead and think about other things. Let's think about, what do we want this world to look like? How do we want to connect? How do we want to be responsible? We're in this boat together, and it's going to take every single one of us working together to get out of where we've gotten ourselves through life. Call it what you will, just merely existing and not participating. I'm a willing participant in this lifetime, right? Life doesn't happen to me, it happens through me.
A comment coming from Paonia, Colorado, from Loretta Garcia. She states that a conscience matter to get vaccinated, as it has been for the current flu shots. And also, she totally agrees with you that our actions affect everyone. So there's,
wonderful.
Yeah,
right.
Coming from Loretta Garcia Small out of Paonia, Colorado.
Well, thank you so much, Loretta. And it's so true, our actions do impact everyone. And how do we start to take responsibility for who we are being, who we are first and foremost, and who we are being along this journey? How does that impact others, and how do we make sure that we are responsible and be the ones to carry it out and encourage others to say, hey, you know what, let's stay in. As a family, go ahead and stay in. Stay together, stay alive. What do they say now? Mask it or casket? I remember.
Jeez. I thought I would be saying something like that. Mask it or casket, Jesus.
No, I was reminded recently, 20 years ago, I was the poster child. My son and I were the poster childs for the Click It or Ticket national campaign on the seatbelt safety campaign. And they used to say, click it or take it. Now it's like mask it or casket, and that's really the reality. That when we see the severity, the implications are tremendous, right? To know that the impact, that we can have the impact, not on just one person. I've heard of entire families who are ill, and some of them didn't make it, okay? When you get mom, dad, and brother that didn't make it, now you have 2 kids that are orphans.
That's right.
Right?
And it hurts.
Impact.
Yeah, big impact.
And it hurts. Now these kids are going to grow up without parents and so forth. And we're seeing it because at the beginning of COVID, unfortunately, I heard of a woman who went to go take care of her mother in Mexico because she was ill. She had a heart attack and she ended up dying from COVID.
Oh, my Lord. So we have another message. Carjo Vasquez, the vaccine rollout for COVID seems to have the same issues that we had in 1953 when they rolled out the polio vaccination. And so he's talking about that, which, you know, the polio was virtually eliminated from the U.S. from the polio vaccination. I remember getting it. I got this big, huge, it looks like a, yes, well, it was a big, huge, like a, I couldn't even describe it, like a scab, giant scab. And then it fell off, but it left a big old scar on you. Strange. But I remember getting the polio vaccination. So it's going to be run by the government, which, you know, that's what a lot of people are afraid of because of our leadership has scared off half the people. It's like, you know, they're afraid of what he's rolling out. And it's coming out while he's still in there. So what is your take on that, Rosario? I mean, you know, everybody is, you know, talking about the COVID because it's running rampant right now. And a lot of our family, our friends, and other people are getting it, and the recovery is somewhat different for everybody. You may be a very healthy individual, and you can get through it a lot easier, even though it hurt like hell. Some just succumb because they're older, they have pre-existing conditions, and they can't take it, and they just succumb to it, and they pass away. Some can be in virtually perfect shape and everything, and still succumb to it. Give us your take on what you think of this and how people should handle it overall when they get COVID, if they do.
Well, if they get COVID, first and foremost, to be responsible, right? That we know in our right mind what's right to do, and we all know what it is that's important for us to do to make sure that we isolate, make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, being responsible for ourselves as well. And then to be responsible for the people around us. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people that don't trust the government and it's going to take a long time and your vaccination X, Y, and Z, whatever that may be, to be consciously aware that we're all in this together. I think about the 7th generation, the impact of my children's children, to go to the 7th generation, right? To know that what I do today impacts them in future generations of people that I will never meet. And of course, you know, I thought about how many times have our civilizations and societies have been extinct. And I'm curious about how many times they've been extinct due to things like this, right? Today, there is no excuse. In this time and space reality, there's no excuse because we have technology, right? We have cell phones, we have communication, we have social media, we have every form to be able to inform us and communicate with others. And we also have a responsibility to be even more consciously aware of what's going on. I think one of the things that today, if we were all to be more conscious and to know that everything has an impact, do you want that impact?
Now, I got another message here that an individual who didn't believe in the polio vaccine never, got the polio vaccine, and now they're crippled for life, all the way now 70 years old, and is in pain forever. So I'll go over it again. We got another message that a person who didn't believe in the polio vaccine never got it. They didn't believe in it, just like we're having this today. And now they're crippled for all this time, and they're in pain constantly from never getting the polio vaccine. And so these are the things that we're going to be up against if you don't believe you can get COVID. You can get COVID now. If they bring out the vaccine, they say get the vaccine, or you can either suffer death, or you can suffer, partial, like this one lady she's got all these effects going on with her after having the COVID. and it's continuing on. So there's all these variables with everybody. So now we're getting those messages here that people are saying this. If you don't get a vaccine from the government, you're probably hindering other people too. So you don't know if you did. Mm-hmm.
Most definitely, and anybody can get anything at any time. I'm a germaphobe, okay? I'm just going to put it out there. Here we go, Henry, to the public. I'm a germaphobe. And I probably clean my hands on a regular basis pre-COVID 100 times a day. After COVID, maybe 200 to 300, right? Hand sanitizer and me become best friends, okay? We're like
55-gallon barrel in the back, right?
Yeah, like I have a barrel in the back, and that's just me. And you can only imagine if a germaphobe gets it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just like every day people who may not be as consciously aware, and especially children, you know, kids are, come on, we're licking poles, or you're walking by the store and it's like, we're constantly touching.
That's funny.
Yeah, everyone. I mean, I watch adults all day. I get paid to watch people for a living, and OMG, there are moments that I'm looking at people and I'm saying,
like,
wow. Wow, like, seriously, like, I had a friend, you know, who I went to give him hand sanitizer, and when I'm like, don't touch the doors. I put hand sanitizer on his hands, he puts his keys in his mouth. I'm like, you're an MD. What are you doing? You know?
When I was young, I used to go, there was this place called Boys Paradise. It was a dump. When it would rain, it'd feel full of water. It was really toxic. I'd go swim in there.
Is that why you're green now?
Yes, and that's why I'm crazy. Everybody figures this out. It's true. This is a true story. It's like, man, it's a wonder I'm still alive swimming in that toxic dump.
Right.
That was Boys Paradise, man. I used to love to go jacking around over there. Nasty. But, you know, that's where I was born and raised. You know, so what could I say? Here at the studio, we always keep it clean. We're always wiping down after guests. Of course, it don't look like they're spread apart in here, but they're spread apart in here. Cameras kind of make it look like they're sitting close.
I've been in your studio, and most definitely you guys are pretty safe and spread apart.
And we clean it up all the time, and we have all 5 different things for, like you say, if you're a germaphobe, you want to get the stuff and put it on your hands. I always wipe down, and then when they walk out, I wipe the door handles. But that's part of it. That's part of keeping the COVID, from getting in our facility. Of course, now everything's gone Zoom. If you've seen that, everybody's going Zoom in here, which is cool. We don't mind that. Once in a while, we'll have live guests, which they want to come in here, but at the door they have to wipe down. There's a sink. They got to wash. They got to put this stuff on their hands. And then I says, then you could take off your mask, but I measure it off in here. You're at least 4.5 to 5.5 feet away from each other, facing the other way. So, which is good. Works out fine.
Definitely, it does. Well, I'm glad that you're taking those precautions, and I'm glad that you're having this show. And I hope my main message for people is be responsible. We love each other. Let's keep each other alive. And just think about that it's somebody's children, somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's teacher, preacher, loved one who we may be coming in contact and putting them at risk. And that's something that we'll have to live with forever, right? We can live with forever knowing that we made a positive impact, or we can live with the regrets of not taking action.
And we'll see, one thing I really thought was really grand is when you gave me a text and you told me what was going on. I like, WTF? What the frogs? I thought, really? And then we brainstormed this idea to bring it out and do a show on it right before Thanksgiving. It's critical, and that's why we're putting on this show, so we can tell you, be very careful in congregations of lots of people, because you don't know if you're a carrier. You could give it to somebody else. It could affect your family. It could cause death even. So we're also bringing the message to you here from KUHS Radio TV Denver, broadcasting internationally, and you can catch this stream on YouTube, on Twitter, on our website, on Facebook Live, which we're on right now. And you can rewatch the broadcast if you didn't catch a lot of it. And we're welcome. We're wide open for any more comments. It was nice. We're getting comments that are coming through here. And
I love it. I love it. And it shows that your audience, right, the caliber of your audience, and how engaged they are with what's going on in our
And
world.
the audio portion, they can't really comment. Lots of people like to listen. Everybody likes to listen to certain radio talk shows and stuff like that. And if they know we're putting on something, they can just log into our live stream via audio only. A lot of people would just listen, and people would just sit there and listen, and that's big. It's over 105,000. I think it's pushing at 119,000 right now that are just listening to us, which is really, really nice. And I think everybody's, like you said, out in the other part of the world. Here's another one. In many states, it's a felony knowingly spreading HIV, hepatitis C. Perhaps we should implement such a law. What do you think of that?
I agree, because this is even worse than that. That you have to have human contact. This, you can kill people just merely by breathing on someone, by not being responsible and being around somebody.
So it's interesting, all these different thoughts that are coming through here, and it's nice to see what's being said. And it's true, like in Europe, they aired it for a little while, but they took it back down, and they were showing doctors inside this one area where they were really bad. I mean, they were terminal, and they knew they weren't going to make it, and he was pointing out that one just passed away, this one's going to pass away here and anytime now, and they were just showing all these people passing away. It's like, oh, Lord have mercy. And because there's no room in the morgues, they're putting them in refrigerated semis. Now that's got to be awful for the family to know that your dad's in a refrigerated semi going to.
I cried a couple of weeks ago. We were having dinner. We're at home having dinner, and I heard about the people being refrigerated, and I had to stop eating. And my heart goes out to people, and just to know like how sad that is, the state of affairs. If we don't think COVID is real, I mean, like, look at me, like, I'm right here. There's so many people. I have people who are global leaders who I just absolutely adore that are fighting for their life right now. And they were just taking pictures 2 days ago, Henry.
That's right.
They were all over social media taking pictures. And right now they're fighting for their life.
And that could happen to anybody, like I said. There's all the variables. I mean, you could be in a perfect physical condition and still pass away. You can be in poor physical condition and it not affect you so much. It takes control of everybody in a different way, a different format. And Rocio, it took control of you, but you're a strong woman. It didn't take you out. I freaked out I stood there just kind of stunned, like, what? Some people have send me messages like this, what the heck? And you don't know what to say. There's nothing you can say or do to help them. You're going to have to go through this, and I could say I'm here for you, but we're here for you in this way, which you're bringing the message to a lot of people on what to do, how to feel, and like you said, we were going to touch on this. Family sometimes doesn't back you when you're ill like this.
Oh my God, like, yes, Henry, like, I experienced that too. I was literally crying, so I got diagnosed on Friday. Like, I got my test results on Friday, and I was expecting family to offer at least some words of comfort, and that didn't happen. And it was my friends who were, I had a friend drive from Highlands Ranch, running from one store to another because I needed a number of things. I knew I had to control the fever. I knew I had to do a number of things to get ahead of things. And my family didn't show up, and I was in tears, and that's why I was in tears.
And that's who you wanted the most to show up, right?
Oh my God. I was crying, and I remember I had a number of friends who asked me, like, oh, you're going to get through this. I'm like, I get that. I'm not crying about this. I'm crying about the sadness that my family's not here. That's what I'm crying about. That's what I was crying about at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, wow, that's like so sad.
You feel you feel solita by yourself,
yeah, Like, I was by myself, it's like, I can die, and then that's it. And then the only thing that's left, okay, I'm gone. The only thing that's left on family's part is the regret, right?
I should have talked to her. I should have called her. I should have
called. I should have like brought the Gatorade when she asked me for it or whatever.
The Gatorade.
Right, because I've lived off.
Mine is 7-Up. Remember 7-Up? You got a 7-Up and the Vicks. What about the 7-Up and the Vicks? Come on.
No, I was taking tonic water because it's the only one that has quinine on it, and that can potentially help as well. And knowing, there's so many things. But yes, the sadness of families sometimes not knowing what to do, and yes, we're infectious and things aren't going very well, but it doesn't stop us from being human. It doesn't stop us from making a phone call or dropping off a can of beans at the door and running.
That's funny. Here's another one for you. Sounds like we may have to provide proof of COVID vaccine. With the polio vaccine, we were marked below our shoulders. I would agree with some kind of proof to travel at the very least.
I would too.
So there's got to be proof of vaccine of some sort.
There's got to be proof of vaccination for
like the 666 on your forehead or something.
No, probably not that. I'm highly advised against that.
I've got it. No.
And really, I agree. That people should have proof that they have it, because you know what? This is not a choice. This is a life and death thing, and there is no gray in between.
That's right. And, you talk about people, family, and what has gone on. And I tell you, there's a lot of families that are close, and they'll be on your side. They'll call you. They'll try to help you in every way. Then there's those that think you're afflicted with something so bad that they can catch it over the phone and that don't talk to me no more.
They're not even touching Zoom, or they're not even on Facebook anymore.
I'm unfriending you.
Unfriend.
Real. That's real talk.
It's real.
Talk. Mm-hmm.
It's real.
And so a lot of these people who are listening in, if you enjoyed this portion of the show, it's brought to you by KUHSdenver.com. And we'll be giving away some free meals to Kaiman Ramen restaurants, so be watching for that and some other shows. This is a special show. We're just keeping it clean of any kind of advertisements, but I had to throw that in for the you could win some free meals.
Yes.
Free gift certificates for $30, so make sure and keep watching our different live streams. Any last comments you have for us, Rosario, and tell us what you feel about the COVID recovery, and what should we all do?
Most definitely. Thank you. I'd say we're in this together. We're family. We're one human family. We're in it together to take care of each other, to be responsible, and you know what, there'll be plenty of opportunities to celebrate. I think that it's nothing more warms my heart to know that sometime in the future we'll be able to embrace each other, we'll be able to connect with each other, and we'll be able to celebrate, to say, hey, you know what, we made it through this because we made the right decisions. And those right decisions is that we were responsible for ourselves, and we were responsible for others, and we tapped into our humanity to know that, yes, there's a lot of people that gave up their life so that our life can be here, and to know that.
And I really like the idea that we brainstormed to do this. You brought it to me, you had it all brainstormed out, and I said, let me think about it a little bit to see how we can put this together. I hope you enjoyed this portion of COVID-19 and recovery with your guest, of course, Rocio Perez. And so with that being said, any other things that you would like to say to family, friends for the Thanksgiving holidays, anything that you'd like to stress out there?
And family and friends, we can always celebrate on the phone. We can celebrate on Zoom. We can celebrate on any type of platform. It is not necessary to be together at this time, and time and space don't necessarily mean anything when there's love. There's love and there's connection. That's all that's important.
That's called time love continuum. So don't ever forget that. Brought to you by Rosario Perez. I got it right. I've been practicing in the mirror. Okay?
You've been practicing for years.
I used to sing in the mirror too. Want me to sing you a song?
You've made progress. I love it. So yeah, stay safe, stay alive. Again, know that these are children, mothers, fathers, brothers, teachers, loved ones. I love my friends, and I'm a very social person, and I was pretty sad this year that I wasn't able to celebrate with them for holidays and everything, and I'm at peace with myself knowing that we're all safe.
It's true, being a social butterfly and having to back off of that and having to be in a different situation that you're in. We could still Zoom in, and you still bring your thoughts and all the other things along with it. And this today was really nice. I really enjoyed doing this. It only took me I said, let me get back with you in 2 hours. I was back with you right away.
You were back right away. You had some great ideas, and I'm so happy that we did this today. And you know, my love goes out to people, and my heart goes out to those that are continuing to be impacted, and sending you lots of love and positive energy and blessings, and know that we shall get through this together.
Out of Paonia, Colorado, she says, my hubby says I'm a social butterfly too.
I love it. I love it. Okay, yes, we must meet sometime, because I'm one of the biggest social butterflies across the nation.
Across the world.
Across the world.
I'm over here in the northern quarter of Europe. Hey, do you know Rosario Perez? Yeah, I know her. I just got off the phone with her.
I know. It's so fun. When my book went international, when it made international bestseller, Henry, it made it across, it went around the world. I'm like, oh, in Amsterdam, we had people in Germany, we had people in different places, and I'm only talking about in hours. It wasn't even days, it was hours, and thinking, you know, feel very blessed to know so many people, and really they become my family and friends, and it's great.
And what's nice about our station, we've got people all the way in Thailand who broadcast back this way as KUHS. Also in Europe, Peter Hatton broadcasts back this way as KUHS. It's really nice to have these individuals on our side who push that's how our audio portion is so huge, because we are carried out on over-the-air stations out that way. So they patch us in whenever we do something, and it comes out over the air, which is nice, so they get to hear what you have to say. So with that being said, we're going to say goodbye for now. Thank you, Rosario Perez. You're always a treat to have on our station, and that's why I always say yes to you.
Thank you so much, Henry. It's always a pleasure to be with you. There you go. Thank you so much.
Se quebró mi corazón. Se quebró.
Se quebró el corazón, pero lo vamos a arreglar.
Pues ahí te miro, que te vaya bien.
Thank you so much, Henry. I really appreciate your time and your love and everything that you bring to the show. And everyone have a wonderful holiday season.
Okay, ciao now.